The Crown's mistake the call came in at 4:47 on a Tuesday morning. A convenience store clerk in a small maritime town had been beaten to death. The store's cash register was empty. The security camera had been unplugged. By noon, police had their suspect. His name was Daniel. He was 23 years old. He had no criminal record, and he would spend the next 12 years of his life in a maximum security prison for a crime he did not commit. This is the story of a wrongful conviction in the Canadian justice system, of tunnel vision, of evidence ignored, and of the long, painful road back to the truth. The discovery, November 14, 1994, Halifax Regional Municipality, Nova Scotia. The Blue Moon convenience store sat at the corner of two quiet residential streets. It was the kind of place where everyone knew the overnight clerk. Her name was Margaret. She was 57 years old, a grandmother. She worked the night shift so her daughter could sleep. At 4:47 a.m., a delivery driver found her. The front door was unlocked. The lights were still on. Margaret was behind the counter. The cash drawer was pulled open, empty. The security camera's red light was off. Someone had disconnected it. The investigation, the RCMP, arrived within minutes. So did Halifax Regional Police. The crime scene yielded very little. A partial footprint near the back door. A smudged fingerprint on the cash drawer. No murder weapon, no witnesses, no clear motive. But the pressure to make an arrest was intense. The community was afraid. The media was watching. 3 days later, police received an anonymous tip. A caller said they had seen a young man running from the area around 4:30 that morning. The description was vague, male, dark clothing, average height, but it was enough. Police began knocking on doors in the neighborhood. That's when they found Daniel. Daniel lived 4 blocks from the Blue Moon. He worked at a fish processing plant. He had never been in trouble. But he fit the description, and he had something else. When police asked to search his apartment, Daniel said yes. He had nothing to hide inside. They found a black hoodie. On the hoodie, a single drop of blood. The blood type matched Margaret's. But blood type is not DNA. In 1994, DNA testing was slow and expensive. Daniel told police the blood was from a cut on his own hand. He worked with sharp knives at the plant. But the police did not believe him. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The interrogation lasted 11 hours. Daniel was young. He was scared. He asked for a lawyer repeatedly. By the end, he had signed a confession. He later said he was told he could go home if he just told them what happened. The theories at trial, the Crown's case rested on 3 things: the confession, the hoodie with the blood drop, and a jailhouse informant who claimed Daniel had bragged about the crime. The defense had almost nothing. Daniel's court-appointed lawyer filed no independent forensic testing. No expert examined the fingerprint at the scene. No one questioned the timeline. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty of second-degree murder, life in prison, no parole for 12 years. Daniel was sent to Dorchester Penitentiary in New Brunswick. For the next decade, he maintained his innocence. He wrote letters to anyone who would read them. Most were ignored. But in 2004, a new organization agreed to take his case. The Innocence Project at the University of Toronto Law School. Law students and a supervising attorney began reviewing the file. What they found was disturbing. The fingerprint from the crime scene had never been run through the national database. When they finally ran it, it matched someone else. A man with a history of violent robbery. The jailhouse informant had recanted. Years earlier, he had written a letter saying he lied in exchange for a reduced sentence on his own charges. And the confession? The interrogation room recording showed Daniel asking for a lawyer 17 times. None was provided. In 2006, the Innocence Project filed for a new trial. The Crown opposed it. But new DNA testing had become available. The blood on the hoodie was tested again. It was not Daniel's, but it also was not Margaret's. It belonged to a third person. Unknown, never identified. The Crown had no choice. In 2007, charges against Daniel were stayed. He walked out of Dorchester Penitentiary after 12 years. He was 35 years old. The aftermath, Daniel returned to Halifax. His mother had died while he was in prison. He missed her funeral. He received no compensation for the first 3 years after his release. Nova Scotia's compensation program required a formal declaration of innocence, which the Crown still would not give. In 2010, after public pressure, the province paid him $5 million, roughly $416,000 per year of his life lost. The real killer has never been found. The fingerprint from the crime scene belongs to a man who died in 2008. Police interviewed him briefly in 1994, but never considered him a suspect. The unknown DNA on the hoodie remains unmatched. A public inquiry into the case made 17 recommendations to prevent future wrongful convictions in Nova Scotia, including mandatory recording of all interrogations and independent forensic review. Daniel now lives quietly in rural Nova Scotia. He does not give interviews. He does not want to be a symbol. But he told one reporter this 12 years for something I didn't do, and they still haven't found who did. Until the truth about what happened at the Blue Moon that night comes to light, the Crown's mistake remains open. The North remembers, and somewhere out there, someone knows.